Hi, I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Anna.
And we're two sisters who love handcrafting and figuring things out.
Welcome. It is Saturday, November 9th, 2024, and this is episode 60. A nice
60 has so many factors.
Number.
It's awesome.
Episode 60.
Yeah.
We've been at it for a little bit.
Yep. Okay. We'll have to have a celebration when we have the episode that's the same as our age.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's coming up soon. We are just having the nicest weather. Like we have all the doors and windows open, but it's that's fall-y feeling to it. It's like perfect. Last time it was almost like a little bit cold.
Yeah. It's funny, I wear this inside, and then when I go outside, it's warm.
Oh,
it's kind of chilly inside, warm outside.
It's kind of like once the sun hits you and everything. All right, so we have a lot. Well, no, we don't.
we got some stuff.
We have some good stuff. We have some good stuff in store today. We have a couple of fully finished objects. We have one, I think, finished object. We have some whips. We have some plans. We have our usual, like, meager, yet great shared supplies. And ends with our thumbs up.
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay, let's kind of think what's been going on. We've got to look at our episode notes here. Some things from comments. Yeah. What are some things?
I was thinking personal life.
All right, well, you want to do personal
I
life
went
first?
to go look at comments and answer them after our last video, and the AI function has really ramped up in YouTube. Like, I could have just pressed a button and a couple of sentences would have gone in that were very personalized and sort of sounded like my voice.
Oh.
And it was a little freaky and a little interesting. I didn't do it, but I should say one commenter next time will get pure AI.
Okay.
And some of them said Anna, some of them said Carolyn. And it was
so they even were signed with like either name?
And it was stuff like something that was mentioned in the comment. Like maybe someone said cross-stitching really helps me de-stress, and it would say something like, I'm so happy you found something that de-stresses you. I mean, it was really amazing. Either I didn't notice it last time or something has happened very recently.
Okay, you know what we need to do? This is what we need to do. We need to go to a comment, and then you or I should write what we would write for the comment. Like if we really were just answering the comment, and then let's do the AI and see how close they were to each other. Okay, I bet it is looking at the text that you've written before, so it probably has your tone. Whoa. Yeah. Wow.
What else? An idea came in comments because I was talking about a white pumpkin showing up on fabric. It's the eternal struggle, getting that white stitching to show up. Someone said double stitch the top leg of the X and it makes the color more prominent.
Yeah, I like that idea. And it's not bow, so it's not going to feel as blobby, but it will probably just raise off a little bit. I thought that was neat.
I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah.
And then there were some references, and we received a DM about things finished on blue fabric. So either a bunch of us are playing with blue fabric, or I'm just noticing it more because I'm thinking about it. You know, sometimes you notice it.
And it could also be that like hand dyers are coming out with more blue, because you're right that we're seeing really blue.
It's on trend right now.
Was it Ginger who did the big white pumpkin on it was a little bit more of a paler blue, right? And it looked so great. So
and shoot, I did look up because you in our last video you said, "Oh, I just saw a recent finish on blue fabric," and I looked it up, and now I can't remember who it is. Anyway, I'm loving the blue fabric. Okay. I'm loving the way the colors are looking on blue fabric.
Okay. I'm going to try a challenge of like thinking what I could put on blue fabric. Okay.
I actually think some holiday stitching.
Do you have something that you started? Did you start the white pumpkin again?
No, but I think I'm going to use it. But there's plenty of that blue fabric for you to have some.
Okay. One thing that I love from the comments is, I know, I just love it. So I haven't done any progress on this, so it's not a whip, but I'm working on the autumn salt boxes. And this is salt box 1 from that. But let me show you the picture of it. And I think I called it like the factory or whatever. And somebody in the comments said, this is a quote from the comment, "The second autumn salt box is a bourbon distillery rickhouse." Well, that's what I call mine. So I thought that's so
the
cute.
Stories we tell ourselves.
Or just like as you're stitching something and it just becomes this thing. So then I'm like, rickhouse? I don't even know what that is. I'm like, I better know what that is before I actually quote it on the air. So I asked Google, and the Google AI told me, quote, "Rickhouses are typically made of wood, brick, stone, or metal and are often 7 stories high.
Oh.
And they are used to distill bourbon. They're often not climatized, so it's whatever the natural climate is." So
cool.
Okay, it doesn't
Why
have
7 stories.
I don't know. It doesn't have 7 stories, but I'm like, yeah, that fits the bill like big time. But I think our cat's trying to come in. Okay, wait. I'll be right back.
So what's been going on in our lives? Lots of school stuff. I had a writing period in my school. You had a conference period at your school, which it always is extra effort, of course, on the teacher's part.
Yeah. We do in the fall, mid-semester in the fall, we do a parent-teacher conference with every family. And it's just intense. They're fantastic. Like it's really great. You pair with another teacher and you have 15 minutes with each family, but I have 62 students. And so I have 62 conferences over the course of 3 days. Like you're talking from 7:30 to 4:30. And this may sound a little counterintuitive, but like in teaching, like I talk, but I'm not talking all the time. And when you're with parents, it's like that on. Just a little funny story. The person I was conferencing with is a real extrovert and I'm an introvert. So we would have like 4 conferences and then have like a 15-minute break, 4 conferences. And so we did 4, break 4, and then I'd go, I'm just going to go walk outside for a little bit. And she goes, "Oh, I'll come with you. Let's chat." And I'm like, oh no, I need to just go out and not talk and just get a little fresh air and be quiet. So we just had a big laugh about that the whole time. I'd be like, "I'm going to walk around the circle." And she's like, "Okay, I'm not going to come with you."
I think I do that to you when we're on vacation sometimes together. And I remember my college roommate said to me, "Anna, not everybody wants to just start talking when they first wake up." Because we would wake up and, "You want to go to breakfast together?" Blah, 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 blah. And I don't even identify. I'm an ambivert, I think. I don't think I'm true.
What's an ambivert?
Like,
is that
really
a real word?
I really identify. It's like smack in the middle. I really have both sides to me, and I can be energized by both quiet and socializing.
Yeah. My husband gets up really early. And so sometimes I'll just be getting it. My first thing is I come out and I turn on the hot water for tea. And sometimes I come out and he's just like, same thing. It's like, let me brush my teeth. Okay.
I want to say, I like it when people sort of help other people understand what they need.
Oh,
so like what you said to her. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you could have been grumpy by the end of the day if you didn't get your breaks.
Oh yeah, that would not have been possible. Mm-hmm. I could not have done that without it. Let's see, anything else from our life? No, I mean, really back to with doing the parent-teacher conferences, I'm an over-prepper, which I think is not a bad thing because I like being really prepared. I feel like it gives me more flexibility, whatever I'm doing, whether I'm teaching in the moment. Like I have a lot of information at my disposal. I also feel like for me, once I'm done with parent-teacher conferences, I know the students really well.
Because you've done that little summary analysis.
I've done that little summary analysis. Even though you think you know them, like when you go to write about them or think about them, it's that extra step. But man, it is. You're just going. I told Anna, it's like at school at 6:30 and at night you're prepping for the next day.
It's exhausting.
I know we all, whatever thing you do in your life, everybody has those high points and low points. And boy, that was a busy high point.
Yep. Oh, and hopefully those busy times are satisfying.
That's right.
It's the worst when they're not.
That's it. I know we had a lot of other things going on at school that week, and I got home last night, Friday night, and I just told my husband, I'm like, I don't have anything to really have to do this weekend. I'll probably do just a little bit of work, but I didn't have to set the alarm this morning. It just, that felt good. But if it's been such a good week, you're like, okay. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah. Okay, we're going to toast. We have this tradition of whenever possible, we go have pizza. This is our favorite pizza place after floss tubing. Often we floss tube like we are right now, Saturday afternoon, but we haven't gone. I'm going to estimate we haven't gone in like 2 or 3 months.
Something like that.
Have we? I don't think we've gone since your birthday for sure.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I can't wait.
We're toasting. We're going to get pizza after this.
We're debating inside or outside. It'll be a little chilly, but it's easier to hear outside.
But it is getting darker.
Yeah,
by 5.
We'll just have to see.
Is it too early to go at like 4:45?
I can't wait. No. My stomach has not changed with the time change yet.
Oh, it hasn't? Okay.
I'm really, really hungry at 4:30 or something. And anyway, okay, enough.
This place is super popular, so it has lots of families, so we're always like, let's get in there. All right, here we go.
Tell us what you're wearing,
Oh,
please.
yeah, what we're wearing. Okay. I am wearing this, one of my all-time favorite sweaters. I like when I wear light color under it because you can see that detail.
I want you to give it to me when you're tired of it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to get tired of it.
I know.
I'm sorry. This is called the Hinagaku sweater, and the designer is Eri Shimizu. I'm going to put it right here because I just didn't say that very well. Its yarn is called Bishi Bouche La Petite Lamb's Wool, which is this really lightweight woolly wool, and it is the perfect fabric for our climate. This is a real staple sweater, and it's just in the last couple of weeks it's been cool enough to wear it, and it feels so good to get these sweaters out. Last May, I think it was.
I'm saying for you, not for me.
Yeah, I think I probably have 5 to 6 sweaters I really wear like every day.
Excuse me.
And it's burping at me. And last May, I washed them all and put them away.
So smart.
And
so
I repair any of them that need to get repaired, and then you pull them out and you're just like,
is this your over prepper side?
Maybe my over prepper side. But the funny thing is, like, I'm not like an overly neat, just look around us. I'm not an overly neat person, or I don't have that, like, everything has to be clean.
It's true. I think when you are doing something for someone else,
yeah,
you're really, really uber responsible and detailed.
Yeah, anything like, yeah. It's probably shows a little bit of maybe over control. Sometimes I feel like over prepping is also a form of wanting to control, but at the same time, I feel like it lets me back away and not control.
Yeah,
we could have a whole, hey, come on out over, let's go out for a drink and have this conversation.
But I think any teacher would tell you in the day to day, if you are really, really planned to the T, it does. You look and you're much more relaxed and flexible because of that framework. I don't know, maybe that's our personality. Maybe not every teacher feels that way. I definitely feel that way. Anticipate the questions, all that stuff.
Right. So, okay, whatever. My
sweaters
are clean.
It's a beautiful color and
a
beautiful weight and everything. I love that one.
Okay, we're going to start with FFO. If you tuned in last episode 59, you saw my saga of ordering a frame for a turkey trot. Oh, and a commenter had a question about the turkey trot pattern from Not Forgotten Farm. It's in a book. It's not a separate pattern. And the book, I believe, is like autumn.
I just answered that comment.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I ordered the frame. It didn't fit, so I kind of went through my finished things, and I found this that fit, and it ended up turning out great.
I love it.
It turned out great. So here is, let me just show the pattern.
There was some question about a black frame and some comments about black frames really set things off.
Yeah, so it's Merry Old Soul by Brenda Gervais.
It's a cute pattern.
It is a cute pattern.
I might stitch that one.
And look at the, that's the one thing I changed is the little stocking.
See, that's why I think you stitched it a couple of years ago, because I remember you debating that, and I don't think you would debate that at all now. You would just change it.
I did, and I'll tell you some notes in a minute.
Okay.
One thing I did in the last episode too, I talked about I had framed North Pole, and even though my margins were equal, because one side was solid and the other side was airy, it looked just a little bit off kilter. So this side has a little bit more margin with the straight line than the airy. And I actually think it turned out, I feel like it looks pretty even.
Yes, great.
So
I'm glad you actually tried it.
Really happy with that. And the nice thing about lacing, I lace for framing too, you don't have to be as exact with your corners. Like when I'm doing a tile, I really work hard to get my corner really crisp. And here my corners are fine, but the corners are underneath the lip of the frame. So you're never going to see your lacing corners around the mat board. For that. One thing I just wanted to, I'm out of the habit of doing this now.
You are?
Yeah, I need to get back into it. what I would do is I'd make these little cards, library cards, and with all the information about what I'm stitching. And this is my merry old soul. I started it December 3rd, 2022. So I pulled this out because I knew Anna, and I finished it on the 22nd. I stitched that in like just a few weeks. And it was the country sampler kit. And the linen is 36 count Confederate gray. I guess now we're calling it gray. And it was the called for overdyed cotton. So even though it was from Country Sampler, it was the called for that.
Sometimes they change.
And then I always put a few notes, and some of it I said, rework the stocking, geometric star instead of snowman face. And I took out the long stitch handle and greenery and replaced it with a cross stitch. I could not get my long stitches at that point to look good. So I just cross stitched the whole thing. And then I said, he really is a merry old soul. And the other thing I said here, I had forgotten this. Aren't you interested in this minutia? Used small hoop for stitching white snowflakes. This worked really well when there are sections.
I remember that now.
And that way I stitched those with the point and stab, or the up and down, versus the sewing method. So getting those little...
I don't think I told you this, but I messed around with deconstructing one of these envelopes.
Oh, yeah?
And then made it out of like scrapbook paper. So the only thing is that the scrapbook paper I used wasn't double-sided, so much of what you see was just plain white. But I'm going to make a few of them.
So I have to think, I had done this really well. I have to go back and think, do I want to keep doing this, or do I want another way to record? But it is really fun to come back. All the details are there. And I'd have this with me, and I just write a few little notes sometimes when I'm stitching, and just have a little bit of...
I keep an index card in my pattern usually, but I haven't gotten in the habit of the envelopes.
Yep. So there
So
we
would
go.
you call that an envelope?
I would call that a library card holder. And I did keep all the floss is still in here. So we should decide if you want to stitch it ever, I'll keep it. Otherwise, we should put these back.
Yeah, is there a picnic basket in there? Because I'm looking for a picnic
Are
basket.
you looking for a picnic basket? I don't think so, because that doesn't sound like no, there's not a picnic basket. Wood Trails, Yeo Gold. No, Oscar, of course. Trail Dust.
I do think I'm going to stitch it, but probably not this year, so I think you could probably return it. Well, I don't know.
I'll just keep them in here. Or I might just pull this out. Sometimes it's nice having a little Christmas ring of something.
All right, our other fully finish is Scary 2, which is from the Bowlful of Scaries series from Plum Street Samplers. And I did mine on 40 count, the 40 count traditional fabric from the Traditional Fabric Club from Everton.
Oh, yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
From Roxy Floss. Oh!
Yeah, Roxy Floss. What am I saying?
That rickrack looks so
love it.
good, that technique.
I love it. I totally stole that idea from Olivia Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I filled it with sawdust, and then I tacked each of the round parts of the rickrack, just tacked it down with a little stitch and a little stitch and a little stitch.
On the front and the back.
So it really, like, the rickrack goes like instead of just sticking out.
Where'd you get the sawdust?
I got it online.
That feels great.
Doesn't it? It's very light.
It's much lighter than I thought it would be.
And it's probably stuffed pretty lightly. Like some people would probably put a lot more sawdust in it, but I just did it to my eye of what I liked. Okay, I love this thing.
This is fantastic. You know, too, what I love. Okay, I'm going to say lots of things. It's so much smaller when you stitch it up.
I know.
I think the rickrack also really makes the corners works really well.
I'm very happy with that. Where I started and ended the rickrack, I have some improvement there, because where I started, I didn't leave a very long tail, and it was really fraying. So I had to do some almost like whip stitching the frayed part.
Oh my gosh,
but Anna, I'm really, really happy with it.
That is an 11 out of 10.
And last video, you were like, yeah, you can go home and finish that. I was really not feeling satisfied with the lighter green. And after our last video, we picked this third green kudzu. And I added that into these leaves and the interior of that pumpkin.
Yes,
and I love it
really well.
I think that just that infusion of one more color helped me finish it.
And I love the negative space you left.
I'm really happy with it. And you know how I love picking the fabric for the back. This fabric is super interesting to me. It is some letters and numbers, but then there's just some symbols. And so like your brain kind of wants to make something out of it, but it's not words. I don't know. And this brown is not in there, but I thought it looked really great with the rickrack.
It's funny because I feel like it looks like it is the same color that's in there. Anna, that looks so. I love the rickrack.
I'm so happy with it.
Did you, MCSing, was this just rickrack from Joann's? Was it just a normal rickrack? Did somebody recommend that in comments? Like
yes,
they said?
Yes, and I think that's a great idea. I had already I heard reference of, and this is in our supplies, I think it's called like Purple Something Mountain.
Oh.
And so I got a few little cards of rickrack and pom-poms for our. Do we have any rickrack or pom-pom at your house?
We have a little bit.
I want to put them in one place.
Yeah, I have like a basket of finishing supplies, and I have some in there. So pull it out. And it makes me want to do a pillow really badly because the corners kind of bother me a little bit, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But that is great.
So just like cover. This is slightly skewed. I don't think you're gonna be able to tell because I was too nervous to wet block it. With all the
yeah, I don't think I'm not going to ever wet block something with over dyed cottons. I'm going to do silks and I'm going to do DMC. Anna, that's beautiful. Where are you going to display it? Put it up on your fireplace, on the little ledge on the fireplace, because the greens are going to pop off.
Right now it's just on the
by your bed
table.
It.
I know, I may have to I don't know. Next time you come over you can see where it lands. I just finished it yesterday. So. I know. On to a finished object for Carolyn.
Okay. So I finished. This is Sweet Rewards Pinkeep. This is by Scattered Seed Samplers, and it is part of the Birds and Berries Pinkeep series. It's a 3-part installment. This is the second installment. And I was working on it. I think I'd started it for the last episode. And here's where it is now. I did a little C.
These are very pretty. These are consistently very pretty.
Yeah, they are.
This club.
Oh. I'm going to talk about how I'm going to fully finish it, and I have some questions about that. Just going to pull out some of the things. Here's the pattern, and it comes with everything, the backing fabric, and then she always has like a little doodah, like a little strawberry. I don't do those. Whatever. For that. And then I love how she does her floss.
I might want to make that strawberry.
Yeah, I have everything for you if you want to make it. I kept it. It's just these little floss cards are just make the project so much fun. And to be honest, I am very strongly attracted to warm colors. So it's a beautiful palette. It's not my palette at all, but I still really enjoyed stitching it, and I have a great plan for it. So what I want to do is, this is the back fabric that she gave. I want to make, Anna's done this before, I want to make just a little, it's almost like a little stitching mat. I'm going to make, it's like a mini quilt. I'm going to sandwich some batting between this and the top.
Great
and
idea.
do a binding, and I'm going to do a binding just in a chocolate brown. And so my big question, and they're going to pull out that brown in there, do I pull the binding to the back? Or would you think having the binding?
Well, can we hold it up?
It's hard to get just a small amount of brown.
I know. I'm partial to having it in the front. But I don't know if that's just because
I feel like used to that look. Yeah, I feel like I think you pulled yours to the back. I feel like when it's pulled to the back, it has a more modern feel. But then I'm like, this isn't a particular modern feel to the pattern. Okay, so I think I will, and I'll do the mitered corners for it. I think I'm going to make my binding, on a quilt, it's a 1/4 inch finished on each side. I think I might make it more like an 1/8.
And actually, I don't think mine is a binding the way I constructed mine. I think mine, the back just is framed, and then I essentially made it like a pillow. And turned it inside out.
Oh.
I'm almost sure.
I thought you did a binding and pulled it to the back. You made it like a pillow.
I wish I had written. There are a few things that I want to repeat, and I did not write down my process the first time I did it.
Okay.
This is one of them. And I touched my little mat, and like, how did I do that? But I'm almost sure.
Okay.
I might have even ironed on the iron-on fleece onto my cross-stitch piece and then treated it like a pillow.
Because I was thinking like But I guess if I put the binding, I was like, do I put the fleece in the seam allowance? Because I've done bindings before on more modern quilts. I'll have to show a modern quilt once that I've done, but I pulled it to the back and I really like that clean edge it gives for that. Okay, so I think the other thing I did, and I don't know if it's going to come up on camera and show Anna, I pulled my thread of, again, where I want to cut. Let me see if I can get it close enough to see where I pulled my thread. And I'm really liking that because I haven't cut it yet. I'm giving myself a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch seam allowance on each side, and I counted my threads. And I feel like, particularly for this, I wanted to have a straight margin around it. So that pull thread, I think, is going to be a neat technique. All right, so I think I am going to do it like a mini quilt, and I'm going to keep the brown edging framing on the outside, and we'll see how that is. I also gave myself a 1/2 inch with a seam allowance, then thinking that if it didn't work, I could do it again and just have a smaller margin.
That's true.
And I have this little tray. That's my stitching tray. And so I'm going to put this when it's done, once it's cut, in my tray.
That looks great.
So I figured that's...
Is this from Mido? Where did you get that?
Is that what's called Mido? Mido? Is it Mido? I think Mido was the Japanese. It's the one we went to.
Muji? No.
Muji. It's Muji.
Okay.
We went to the one in Portland. I think it's opening in downtown Palo Alto. Yeah, so it's a great little tray. I love this little tray. So that's that.
Good.
Now, everybody, drum rolls, please. I had posted this on Instagram. I received my 3rd installment.
Oh, you're going to open it.
I'm like, should I
get some coffee? I'll be right back.
Okay, should I let them see my address? Would people send me cookies if I did? No. So I'm going to now open this 3rd installment. Now, while Anna gets her coffee, I'm going to open I love the packaging. Look how concise it is, and there's a little sticker on the back. She like packs it in here.
Efficient or something.
Oh, it's interesting. It's kind of taped on here. There we go. Oh, I don't know if you've seen this already.
No.
People have seen it.
Oh, you're not talking to me? Cute. So
Really
there you got some warm
great.
colors.
This is the coloring of the bird from the first one. Oh, let me insert a picture here of the first installment. That one was done. I really love the color palette of that first one. And then this kind of pulls them both in. And again, it comes with the backing fabric.
What's this circle for?
I think that's for the little, holding on the little fobby thing that you make. Can you see it's right there? So she gives you a little bit of hardware and doodahs and this ribbon to make. In my world, that's just never going to happen for me. It's like just not something I would make or use. But it's all there if anybody wants it, and if you want to make them.
Okay,
I have all the supplies. Okay, this one's called Sweets of the Vine, Pinkeep.
Great.
I might just start it again right away. Okay. Should I, and then the question is, do I do this club again next year? I think she's done it multiple years.
I don't know.
It's been fun.
All right. All right, we're moving on to our whips. My first whip is Shades of Pumpkin. Here's where I was last time. The designer is Needle Treasure Nooks on Etsy. And here's the pattern. Shades of Pumpkin. I was attracted to the grid and the interesting colors. The thread is DMC, and I'm doing this on 36 count Walnut Grove by Needle and Flax. And I know, I did a lot. I don't know what happened. I just got in a groove, and I'm so happy up at the border. So I'm finishing this last pumpkin, which I saved for the end, and it is hard.
Why?
It's like two stitches of one color, one stitch of another color.
I see.
I tend, so yeah, it's, I don't know what you call it. And it has kind of an interesting effect.
A little confetti-ish?
Maybe, but not quite. But look at the, if I go, I tend to like to go diagonal and find a diagonal line, but then I really have problems with warping. And when I go across, the stitches get sort of stretched. They're almost rectangles like this instead of squares.
Yeah.
Which I don't think you can tell too much when the second color is put in.
Have you tried going down going down and then coming back like.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard because it's not
I hear you.
designed. So I don't really know how to stitch this kind of thing. And I realize I don't stitch this style very much at all. But I've had so much fun with this, and this is what I want to prop up.
I wish I could show. Anna, last time you were saying you felt like if you were going to do it again, there was too much negative space.
I feel less like that now that these center things and the whole border is done. I still think they're pretty far apart. And I still have a strong urge to do like this pumpkin in a variegated thread, just all on its own. And I actually think I have enough fabric.
I think the negative space is perfect.
Okay, good.
I think if they were closer together, it would not feel right. I think it's really, I'm so glad you kept it the way it was charted. That is phenomenal. I still also think you should frame it in a colored frame. Even that, pulling out that turquoise or one of the oranges or that green.
I haven't tried signed and numbered yet. So.
I think it would look so good. How are you thinking about finishing it?
I was thinking I'm not going to tile it up and then I could still frame it later.
True.
Although it seems to me like when you have a frame made, you wait until the frame comes and then lace it on the piece that comes with the frame.
Yeah, but
right?
you wouldn't have to. You wouldn't have to. As long as you left enough that if it's a tile, if you would then lose a 1/4 inch lip around each side. So as long as you gave yourself a margin, you could just put it in instead of the.
So that
you're almost done.
Yeah, I've worked on it a
the
lot.
last thing.
Yeah. But like this is how I'm like, should I take those out and try another method? Because I don't like the way that looks.
May I see it in the pattern, please? Oh, here it is. I love how your the border and the little doodahs in the middle are very much in the family of your linen. Oh, I see.
They're kind of lacy.
Yeah.
Which I like that look a lot.
Yeah, it's gonna look fine. It's gonna look absolutely fine. And I hadn't realized, like, I'd seen the orange in that one.
Yeah, it's funny. These three have more than one color in them, and then some of them are solid. And the solid ones were much more relaxing to stitch.
Yeah.
I know some of you do, a lot of shading and flowers and leaves and things like that, and so you're probably really used to this. But most of the things I stitch don't have a few of this color, a few of that color, a few of this color, a few of that color.
The little single pumpkins would be cute magnets. Fireplace magnets. Tile magnets, I guess we would call them.
One of our commenters said that she did that and she's used a cookie sheet. I mean, you have the most beautiful
to put
solution there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, of course. I can see the letters, the old plastic letters that would be on people's refrigerators on a cookie sheet.
I've seen some like corrugated metal that I think would be kind of a cool thing. You could prop that little, and I think I've seen them at like 6x6, and you could put that on a little stand and then put it on the corrugated metal. Some ideas. All right, my whip is, let me get myself ready. It's Blue Moon by the Artsy Housewife. I've been spending a lot of time in here, but I've got to get over to the bird for that. Making good progress, I think.
You said you were going to outline every flower, right?
I've been doing a combination. I like having them outlined, so if I'm just in a fill-in mood, I can fill them in. So here's where I was last time. Okay, here is where I am now. And you can see that big old body of the bird is coming in right there.
The colors in this with the linen that you chose are just really looking fantastic.
Really happy. So I'm using 36 count dark cobblestone. This is a Zweigart color. And my thread, I'm using my own conversion. I started with Gigi's called for DMC and then converted it to a combination of MPI silk. But I've also been throwing in some overdyed cottons as well. And it's just 1/2, and this piece is going to be 143 by 160. I think I mentioned this before. Can you see I have now a couple of those lighter grays in the black? I'm always
pretty subtle.
I'm always outlining the silk, but these I filled in with an over-dye dark gray. Also, these are outlined in silk and then filled in with an over-dye.
Get a little closer to see if that'll really show.
And I really like, maybe this one. I don't know if you can see the outline. And here are the threads someplace. Here they are. So this is the combination of the MPIs. And for like the MPI and the over dyes, for example, those two are paired together. They're really similar in color, so it's just sort of like a little shine more on the MPI and a little more variation. Here are and then these two are paired together, this one.
Mm-hmm.
And those are paired together.
I think it's fun.
It's really fun. I'm gonna flash this pattern just because I put it together and you just realize how huge the bird is. I knew the bird was gonna be big, but when I printed my copies and taped them together, I'm like, oh yeah, she's a big old bird. Mm-hmm. And I really want to get to her because it's going to be more of mosaic stitching like was on the butterfly and the flower and weeds and wildflower. And I loved having that ability to work some on the mosaic, which needs a little bit more concentration, and things like the fill-in of these leaves. Now, the other thing I just want to talk about these leaves, especially once I outline them, see that shape? Okay, I'm going to geek out on you now. It reminds me of Conk's snowflake. I'm going to show Anna what it is, and then while I'm showing Anna, I'm going to put a picture up on the board. And it's a fractal image where you start with a triangle, and then in the middle, it's an equilateral triangle. All three sides are equal. And then in the middle of each triangle side, you add a new triangle. And with fractals, you keep doing that infinitely, and then
I use this as a challenge problem on one of my tests having to do with area of what's the area of this one if that triangle is the unit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. And it's really cool, but that just brings me joy every time I look at these or I stitch an outline. I'm like, oh, it feels like a conch snowflake. So, Gigi, again, thank you for your beautiful designs. I already know. I hope to finish this, but if I don't finish it by like middle of December, I've got to stitch lit.
I was going to say, oh yeah, reindeer. That's my, I think I want to finish my Kathy Barracks this season, but that is definitely in my head. Like one season I'm stitching that.
This is well documented. I do not miss an Olivia B unboxing video from Hillside Rookery. I don't always see them when they're released. Sometimes it's like a couple of weeks later, but I always watch one. And her last one, she showed lit. And again, every time I see it, I'm like, oh! So that just tells me I need to stitch it. So do you want to stitch lit? Two? Okay. Should I order 2 copies when I order it?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Blue Moon.
Great. I had a start.
Good.
For Black Sampler November.
Oh, good.
We always say Black Sampler September for some reason.
You know, that famous day.
Yeah. I mean, I just really love samplers like this that are beautiful in their simplicity. Mm-hmm. And this sampler was done in a dark green, actually. It's a little bit hard to see in the photo. So that made me think of some Gloriana silk that I used for a different sampler. And it's India ink. And the person, I got this at our local needlepoint store, said, well, you know, India ink has a touch of blue in it. And I just could not see what she was talking about. But I think the skein that I'm using now, I can see the greeny blue in it more, and maybe it's under my magnifier lamp too. So anyway, that's the thread I'm using, and I'm using 40 count cup of mocha. I finally get to use one of Sharon's Crescent Crowns fabrics. Gotta look in the light, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think of this combo? Cup of mocha.
I love it.
You do?
It reminds me of what was the one we did that was Jacob and it had the marking sampler on one half?
Yeah, that's what I used this thread for previously.
Okay, and I feel like we both stitched it on slightly cocoa-y. At least I think I stitched mine on a cocoa-y.
I did mine on what's the legacy linen?
Cloister Cream,
which I just love.
What do you think about the?
I love it, but we've talked about this before. I know that sometimes the color combinations that I love are a little off, like in terms of color theory.
That's okay.
And which I know it's fine. I'm like, if I love it, then go for it. But I like to get your opinion, because then you'll say, oh, actually, there's a lot of red and this or whatever.
Well, I think this color has a lot of, it's
like purpley plummy.
Yeah. I think that looks beautiful. How do you feel about the 46? You're such a...
This is 40.
Oh, it's 40.
This is 40.
Okay.
And I haven't tried my 46 yet. I have one piece of 46.
And how do you find stitching on that linen?
Love it.
When I stitched on it for my quill sampler, I can't remember the full name of the sampler. I loved it too. Emmeline Hotchkiss. Yeah. You know, that looks so good.
So yeah, it's a lot of like, bring a line all the way across.
I love
something like these simple borders, and I just think they're so pretty.
It's very bandy. I love the bandy too, and the simple borders. What are you going to do for the cartouche?
Have no idea.
Take a while to get down there.
It has gone through my head. Do I want to keep the original stitcher's information in there and add my? I haven't done your mark yet anywhere, or do I put something else down there? Don't know, but loving it.
So good, Anna.
That was a little bit of an impulse start. And I've only worked on it.
Do you have any urge to put a little color accent anywhere on that?
Nope.
Not in the slightest. Okay.
Nope.
Yep.
Where would you put some
I don't know.
accent?
Just like...
No.
Not at all.
No, I love the simplicity of this, and I love the simplicity of the one color.
All right, friends. Here comes the next
whip
I have. Oh, my big old crochet blanket.
It's getting big.
It's getting big. Here's a photo where I last showed it. And let's see if we can show. That's the bottom. I've come in around. I've done a double of the dark eggplant. And now I have a new color up here. This yarn is by Green Letter Day. And it's her worsted weight superwash merino, and the way she sells her yarn is she sells it in pallets. So this pallet was called the Sleepy Hollow pallet. It came in 10 skeins, and when you buy that, you can also buy any of the skeins separately that are in your pallet. So this is this dark eggplant. This came in the pallet, and then I got 2 additional skeins for that, and that was the big stripe in the middle.
Is this coming back, or is that going to be extra?
This is I'll have to decide. So I'm now using this color. That's my current stripe. What I love about crochet is you just got one live thing at a time, and if it's cold I've just been using this as a blanket, because what's the worst that can happen if you stitch
it has a great weight to it.
It feels so great. And just that color. So I'm just doing the color palette in the order that she had them in the bag. I'm not overthinking this at all. And then after this one, these are my 2 I have left. And this is a slightly different, color than that. So this one problem about this, I just kind of one night just started it, and I've made it a little wide. So friends, we know about our area. We only have a certain amount of area that you can have with your yarn. So because I made it a little wide, it's not going to be quite as high as I wanted it to be. And you can see I only have this one and then 2 more rows. And it's a little bit wide. And because this yarn comes in pallets, it's not like I can just go back and get, let me have a couple more of those colors unless I waited. So my big debate will be, I was going to take this last one and do just a border around it to pull everything together, but I think now I just might make it as another stripe, because I also feel like the sides are pretty even. Like I don't feel like I need to clean them up.
That's true. It does
with a border.
Yeah, I know. I could swing either way, because I know that blankets come in particular sizes because they work for the body, but then I'm also like, a blanket of any shape and size work.
Oh yeah, and it's like, as we get older, it's like a great lap blanket. Like as I'm stitching, it's like a great size right now. And one thing I do like sometimes about putting an edging all the way around is even keeping it simple. It just kind of cleans it up and frames it. So whether I'm going to count how many double crochets I get out of a skein, and I might do like then a short border, a little bit more at the top, and then go around. So
I'll be looking forward to seeing what you decide.
whole thing.
Great. And our last whip is quilting related. I am taking a 6-month quilting class, all with solid fabrics. Each month there's a new block. And last month it was the hourglass. Oh, and there's a color palette every month too. And this was my first one. I showed this last time. And my second one. And then for my third one, before I left the hourglass pattern, I wanted to, the teacher Tara Fawnin calls it disrupting the block. So these are still hourglasses, but there's one, like the way I've trimmed them is not even, and there are some 6-inch blocks and some, anyway, this was really, really fun.
Oh, I like that.
Thanks. And there's a little sashing, like I just made a bunch of blocks and then trimmed them and then started to make sections.
I love how
like
you
here's a section.
reintroduced a few
the green. You told me green has to come back.
I feel like you went back to having a good selection of colors in here where the other one felt a little bit more. I loved how some of the commenters gave some really good input too.
Really good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Critique. I thought that was really great. I love hearing. I hope you love hearing those voices too.
I totally do. This quilt class is called Block Studies.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll ever make anything
No.
out of any of them. They're really just to study value in particular, which is something I really have a hard time with. Color instead of value screams to me. So I am open to critiques.
I love this.
I mean, keep it friendly, but yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I once heard, like a good design, you can view it from all perspectives and it still feels like it works.
This was a different, I predicted it was going to be a different size rectangle. I thought it was going to be almost square, but with all the seams, the way I had it laid out and I sewed it at the end, a lot of the seams take up more fabric than you think they will. So that was great. So
I think that's a good success, Anna.
Thanks. One of my girlfriends came over this morning and she's taking the class too. And it was so fun to, just at the dining room table. And I made my first block for the second month. And the color palette is all blues and greens. So here's my first block. It's the log cabin, although she said it's really called the housetop. Because in the log cabin, you add. And in this one, you add the shorter end, 2 shorter ends, and then 2 longer ends. But
some people call that the courthouse steps, I think.
Oh, okay. The way I did this one was just completely intuitively, and I just picked a color that I liked, but I have some different ideas of what to do next. So,
and you just stitch it like a traditional log cabin stitch.
Okay, look, this is paper piecing. So the other thing I'm learning this month is this is a type of paper piecing where you don't rip it off. Off the back, you fold it back, and then you sew 1/4 inch away from the fold. And then you fold it back and you stitch 1/4. It's hard to explain. There's a lot of steps to it, but I can use this template again and again, and I didn't have to rip off the paper.
Oh, I would love to see that. If you think about it, next time you do one, taking a few like process photos would be really cool. Anna, I'm always drawn to a log cabin. Always. There's something about strips and the play of color.
So she gave us something like 8 templates or something. This is the one I started with. This was template number 1. And this was like, I got to figure out how to do this paper piecing and just mess with the colors.
So she gave you 8.
So you should see my couch. In fact, I'll put a picture here. I have the blues and greens from lightest to darkest, and I checked myself by taking a photo and then changing it to black and white. And then I just have, cut strips. And so now I can pluck from whatever value, because again, I'm trying to learn more about value. I'm having so much fun. Can you tell?
Do you know, does she sell these templates?
I don't know. You can buy online courses from her. Because it's not the block studies. Like last year's block study, you can buy each month by itself for like $25 or something.
This is what I wanted to, like, I love log cabin and I love this idea and I love different.
I'll show you the different templates.
I need to see where you go with this.
A lot of people, there's sort of an Instagram kind of thing that's just for people taking the class. You just wouldn't believe what people are making. And they're so different from each other. And some people are using different palettes and pulling in, like some people are pulling reds into this. Right now, I want to be kind of strict with myself. use what she gave me and see what I can do with it.
Yeah.
Because some of these lighter colors are really hard. Like this baby blue, I'm like, it's not speaking to me at all.
I think that's really important to use the palette she gave you because she selected it for a reason, and
she's the expert.
And it's going to push you out of your comfort zone by using colors that, instead of just going back to colors you feel comfortable with. I see something like this, which I think is really successful. I could see this finished as a tile. Or wouldn't it be cool if you had this and then some sort of cross-stitch piece with the same palette that's like a square that's right here? Like
Carolyn.
Starting to think about like mixing and matching mediums.
So if you haven't seen at IKEA already, they have these tubs that are white plastic with bamboo tops.
I've seen those.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
So I bought one of those white. It's sitting in the living room. My living room is just, and dining room, I have like a living room, dining room L kind of thing. Just like covered with fabric with my little bin where I've closed down this. All this stuff is in the bin now, and now this is spread out all over.
Oh my gosh. Are you doing
Thankfully, James is very supportive.
Yeah, I've seen those bins. I wanted to buy them at IKEA. I'm like, I don't know what I would use these for, but I love the aesthetic of them.
Yes. So I think I had the same experience, and then when I started doing this, I'm like, I have a reason to go buy one of those bins.
You're just going to have such a great year doing this. And I didn't realize that her local friend was doing it at the same time, which is really
And she
neat.
took Block Studies 1 last year and had such a good experience. So by the time I knew about Block Studies 1, it was closed. So she was like, keep your eye out. Get yourself on the newsletter.
Tell me next time, because I...
You want to just come over and sew with us?
No,
you mean for the next Block Studies.
I would do 3, and by then, friends, I am not going to be teaching full-time anymore.
So you'll be making lots of iterations.
Yeah.
I'm trying to push myself, like, learn something each month. Like, really get something out of this class.
Yeah.
But some people are doing, like, a dozen blocks.
And it just depends on stages in life and where you are. Yeah, really cool. I can't wait to keep seeing those updates as we go through. It might be kind of fun to also just do, like, hope you're taking photos, because at the end it'll be neat to just do like a little photo montage of your process along the way.
Okay.
Okay. All right, great. Those were our whips. Sometimes I feel like this was such a busy 2 weeks for me. I didn't really get to craft that much. And sometimes I feel like, oh, we're not going to have enough to show or talk about. But we always do. All right, plans.
Okay, I'm keeping Purdy out for November, even if I just do a strand here or there. She's staying out. And then, I think I mentioned this in the last video, but I literally have a drawer where there's a bunch of half-finished Christmas things. I'm opening that drawer, and then I have to decide if I'm going to make my son-in-law a patriotic Christmas.
Oh yeah, you got to get on that if you are.
Yeah, because I have not started it, although it's kitted up. So
so you had one picked out and everything. Okay.
So those are the 2 things on my mind for plans.
Awesome. So you're ready to go Christmas. Okay, so last video I was talking about, November 1st, we don't have school, it's a Friday, I'm gonna do my 12 by 12. No, I was prepping for conferences the entire time. But I don't want to lose that idea. I just realized really between now and when I would do it on Christmas, on New Year's Eve, I just don't have a full day. So I think next weekend, I'm going to do it over the course of the weekend. Start Friday when I get home from school. So I'm going to do 12 things in 12 hours, but kind of parcel it out throughout the weekend.
I think I would like to join you.
Okay.
Because I couldn't on that Friday that you were planning on, but next weekend is wide open for me.
Yeah, because I have a few things I'm going to do next weekend. So I have something on Saturday and something on Sunday, so I couldn't do the full day. But I thought, hey, okay, great, let's do it. Let's start, get your list together. And even like, it might be fun on Friday. After school, I can come over, or you can come over, and we can just do a few hours then.
Yeah, we can talk more about schedule.
Okay. So I want to do that. I'm totally going to keep going on Blue Moon, but at the same time, I think I'm going to order lit. So I just have that. I'm going to order 2 lits.
Lit times 2.
Lit times 2. I'm feeling a real itch to start a colorwork sweater. This is about the time of year. I love this wool too that I was talking about, the Bichi Bouche Le Petit Lamb's wool. So I think if I do colorwork, I might do in this yarn. This brand of yarn. We'll see. I have a couple of ideas that I've been sort of stalking. I'll see which way I go. And then finally, I still have 2 fall smalls that I was going to start that famous November 1st that I ended up doing no crafting on. That I still want to do. I'm not ready for Christmas. I want to keep doing through Thanksgiving some fall smalls. So I'm going to start those as well.
Okay.
So that's where I am.
Are you still thinking, I know, I see it's not on your list, but the reindeer sampler for birthday-ish?
Oh.
Or not?
I think so. I still have it. My birthday is the Friday before Thanksgiving. So I am going to have a birthday start. I think I am going to do that checkerbird stag or whatever it's called. I think that's what I'm going to start for my birthday start.
Good.
Yeah.
That will be. I'm going to keep going.
Oh yeah, because we're not going to film.
Right.
By yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I'm camping that week, end of my birthday, which would have been the weekend we're filming. So we'll film again the weekend after Thanksgiving. So it'll be 3 weeks for us.
I never stitch a lot when there's a lot of family around, so
having that.
I think it's kind of good.
Oh yeah, that's good point. That's good. Okay, so shared supplies. What you got? All right, what you got for us?
Here is the trim I mentioned. It's Purple Paper Mountain, and she sells trim just on these little cards.
Oh,
and they were like $3 each, something like that. I thought they were really reasonable, and I just it's hard to tell color on. Online, but I'm very happy with all the colors we received.
It's funny, I think some of our that I bought before with the rickrack is smaller, but you need the bigger if you're going to do it over.
Right, but I do want us to build the smaller because I love the way it looks to sort of tile something and then put the little rickrack along the edge.
Did she have any like neutral colors? Because I also thought it'd be pretty edging, even if it wasn't a contrast to the linen, but more was a ghost color of the linen.
Yeah, and we have, and then this is our little thank you gift. What do you call that? Chenille, kind of chenille. One of them's chenille, like classic chenille, and the other one. In fact, I should take those out because it's getting kind of smushed.
Okay, cool. And this company was called
Purple Paper Mountain.
Purple Paper Mountain.
And then I think, Kitten Stitcher's Advent box has come out.
Yeah.
And want to split it? You want to skip it?
We can
talk later.
I put it in a cart. So I saw your note on there. So let's talk about it over dinner and make our decision.
Yeah.
Because it looks like they're probably going to go fast. So if we want to do it, we should probably do it today.
Yeah, no. It's just the classic. I'm sure we all feel this. I'm about to open this drawer of half-finished Christmas things. And then but I love ordering from Kitten Stitcher. I know. The things that she does. So.
Yeah. And she does. It's going to be collaborations. I think every day is with a different designer, whether it's a doodah or a supply or a pattern. So, okay, were those yours?
Yep.
All right. I ordered linen from Cedar River Linen from Jody. It always comes packaged so beautifully. 2 of them are her new colors, and 1 is a color I really like. This one's called Salt Ash.
This is the one I could not wait to see. That is gorgeous.
All right. So why don't we hold these up as we go? I love her linen. This one, I got 36 count. This one's Maple Bar. We have this already, but I love it, and we have it in 40. So I got it in 36 count also.
We also have it in 56.
And then this is Spindrift. So I don't know which one of these. This might not have been new, but one I didn't have before. So you can see it's just a nice comparison. This has a little more.
Is it almost pink?
I want to say it's more orange.
Peach. Yeah.
Peach, more peach. Whereas this one you can see is more of like a blue-green kind of ash. Look at that color,
I love them all.
I like when people show linen compared because I feel like, especially on camera, you can see the colors better.
Who was it? Somebody I saw was holding everything up to Vintage Country Mocha.
Oh.
See, I think maybe we all kind of know what that looks like.
This is Vintage Country Mocha. Let's put the Maple Bar up compared to that. A little warmer. I love that Maple Bar. So her linen, it's beautiful stitching. I love her business model. I love how she's very thoughtful about environmental issues when she dyes. It comes in this sweet little box. Although when you get it, it's so well taped. I'm like, let me in that box. Okay, so.
All right, time for our thumbs up.
Let's do our thumbs up.
All right, so our leaves are really, our trees are just starting to turn, and not all of the trees around us even turn, but as I've been driving and when I was at the park with one of my granddaughters, I just love when leaves on the ground like swirl a little bit. Or one day I was driving and there were lots of bits of leaves and they were like popcorning off the street as cars went over them. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous. Mm-hmm. That's just like sort of, and then I was also, some little tiny leaves were coming down. There were tiny little leaves and it almost feels like snow. Mm-hmm. I just dig that whole thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, the second thing is ironing open a seam after you sew it when you're quilting. And then I thought, you know what I'm going to add to that too? Turning when you're making a little pillow for a fully finish and then you turn it you get to see that.
The crisp edge. The crisp
it's
edge.
Just so exciting. And then my third thing is every year at our school, we celebrate Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, and we set up a big altar, and students can put in photos of people that they love who have died. And they make sugar skulls and learn dance. I mean, it's just amazing. And that altar is so, every year, it has such an impact on me.
Do you do it on November 1st?
Or as close to somewhere in that range. Mm-hmm. And we have like a folkloric ballet come out, and it is just, it always has an impact on me. Mm-hmm. There's something about, like, even just talking about death as a community.
Yeah. And celebrating, remembering people.
And celebrating and, inviting them to come back. And this is a little quote from a poet that once somebody in our Spanish department gave to all of us. The Mexican is familiar with death, jokes about it, caresses it, sleeps with it, and celebrates with it. Mexicans think of it as a favorite plaything and the most lasting love. I mean, that is a really different view of death than what we grew up culturally.
Yeah.
And it was a very powerful, every year is very powerful for me.
Cool.
The end.
Thumbs up. Okay. My three thumbs up were just over the last couple of weeks experiences that I felt showed acts of caring and kindness, which I just think it's just so important for us to do as a community and culture. The first was the science teacher that I did our parent-teacher conferences with. I didn't really, even though we teach on the 8th grade team, I didn't know her as well. She was new last year, and I was teaching for a year off campus with our 6th grade. And I like to do my conferences. We were on Zoom. And you can do them from home, but I like to just be at school. I just feel like the setting's better. I can focus more. And so I asked her, I said, hey, do you want to come into school too? And we can sit in the same room and be on the same Zoom. And she was like, sure. Well, we spent 3 intense days together, and she's just such a wonderful person. And we got to really know each other with that. We were like, oh my gosh, our philosophies are so similar. We were really supporting each other. And just that idea, like this colleague, I don't know, I just felt like we really connected with those 3 days and really can build a strong connection. And just her caring and kindness and our kindness, I think, to each other help you get through this time where it's just an intense time. Again, all positive, all families super happy, but it's just an intense time together.
It's a lot of concentration.
It's a lot of concentration. So just thumbs up to her. And the next thumb up is Bay FC. You've heard me talk about, I'm so into the soccer team. They made playoffs, but it just, when I think about the vibe and it could be just their marketing, I don't know what's really going on behind the scenes, but it's just seen from their founders to their office to how they treat their players to how they treat their fans. They're really kind and respectful to everybody. And I just so appreciate that. And going to the game, I get that vibe too. Plus we can still be competitive and be rooting for our team. But I just feel like it's a caring and kind organization. And then finally, we had a community action day where I took a group of students to St. Anthony's Padua Dining Room, which is someplace local for us. And they serve lunch 7 days a week, all year, to families. And so we went there and we actually made all their decorations that they're going to have for their Thanksgiving Day. And they serve over 600 people. And their motto is, we serve meals and distribute groceries 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year, and we ask no questions or turn anyone away. And it was such an incredible place. Like, just the caring and kindness and supportiveness and this idea of you need it, you come, we give it to you, was just really great. So just thumbs up to kindness and caring.
Great.
Okay, so we'll see you in about 3 weeks.
Yes. And until then,
happy crafting
and stay curious.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
mugshot for our title page. Because I have to like go.
How about if it's
And let's bring it down here because the title is going to go kind of across here. So let's either put it to the side and then our title will be in the center. Yep.